Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Play Legend of Dragoon. We now have access to Denningrad. And since everyone told me in Fernie that I should head here, I might as well listen and follow the plot. One thing to note about this town compared to Fernie, it's freaking cold, as you could probably tell from outside, but if you had any doubts, you just talk to this guy. Yeah, he's freezing. He's in shorts. There's snow on the ground. I've seen this. I've seen people do this, and I just don't get it. It was, oh geez, here's a story for you. It was, I think, minus 22 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. I never learned the Fahrenheit scale. I'm in Canada. We learn Celsius, and it's easy enough to understand for me. I'm not going to try and understand another one. But it was minus 22, which is really cold, at least where I live, and it was a really big cold snap that went on, I think, for about 3 or 4 days straight a couple years ago. And while I was doing this, I was working outside, which really sucked, but I walked by a Walmart and one of the employees came out in a t-shirt and shorts. I nearly just, I do not have words to explain that. Anyway, this guy's talking about the Evergreen Forest, which apparently has too many monsters, and even though the Sea Dragon's gone, there's still monsters in the forest and they can't make it through, which is kind of weird since we didn't have many problems with it. Become a nest of monsters. And the animals have turned into monsters. At least they kind of explain what happened with Kamui, even though they didn't really. And so yeah, no one can go to the hot springs. Poor you. But yeah, this guy, he came out in a t-shirt and shorts when I had, like long johns, thermal underwear, really warm, shirts, and like a big, massive winter jacket. And I did not have words then. I don't have words now. Why would you do this? Anyway, we have some new stuff to buy, so let's do that. We got Tomahawk, which is nice. Spear of Terror, which is also nice. Diamond Claw, which is the one that we could have gotten as a drop from the fight against Garrick and Mappy, but I chose to get the Soul Headband, which is also available here. We also have access to the Magic Plate. It's more good stuff. Now, this is the one I tend not to buy. If you recall, I was, I think it was in Fernie, where I said that the next few pieces seem to drop his stats, and I can't remember exactly the words I used. I think I screwed it up, but yeah, the helmet that we picked up in Fernie, it dropped his magic attack, which I'm not worried about. This one drops his magic defense, and even though it's negligible, it's like half the amount that his defense is raised by, I choose not to get this at this point. You'll get his next gear not too long after this anyway, so I don't see the need for this. I may or may not even use him between now and getting that piece. Here we get a jeweled crown. I think, who else can use that? I think Meru's the other one who can use that, and she already has one. Now, we have Stardust boots here, which are basically like, what were they? The other boots that I bought for the guys in the couple parts ago. And of course, we get the Almighty Armor of Legend. I've been telling you about this for a little while now. Yeah, here it is finally. Now, the downside of the Armor of Legend compared to the Legend Casque is the Legend Casque not only raises your magical defense, but it also boosts your magical attack. Unfortunately, the Armor of Legend does not raise your physical attack, which is kind of unfortunate. But yeah, base defense on... well, that's hard to explain, because that's not his base defense on Kongo, that's the defense in his armor. So if you look at someone like, Shauna, that's going to up hers quite a bit. But the thing is if you give that to her on the proper status menu, that's going to raise it to slightly over what Kongo has at default. Just like if you gave Kongo the Legend Casque, it'll have slightly more, actually I think it's slightly less magic defense than Shauna will have at, her default with the gear that she has now anyway. So I'm going to come back. Actually, I'll buy these now. Why not? It's not like they're that great. they're completely skippable, just like the other ones for the guys. I wouldn't worry about them too much. Now here, we can't buy much else. No, pretty much everything that we could buy before. More pointless Thunder Elemental ones that aren't particularly important. Do I have anything useless to sell? Probably. Well, let's get rid of that Depetrifier. Don't need that. And an extra body purifier. Don't need that. And Recovery Ball. Don't need that either. Well, that should clear up some spots here in my inventory. I'll have to come back and buy some more of those boots for the two ladies that are not in my party right now. It's a warm day. The other guy's freezing over there. That's just the clinic there. Nothing big going on there. Hey, come back here. Bishop Dial? Delay? Dial? Dill? Whatever. Anyway, he's a preacher. So yeah, we're going to talk to him eventually, actually rather shortly. But first, let's talk to one more person. I like books. No one's going to get that reference, though it's kind of a generic line from a really awesome movie. Oh well. Anyway, this guy loves his books. I think if you talk to him again... Oh no, that's later. Never mind. I was going to say something. If you head over to the left there, you'll go to the next screen. We don't want to do that yet because there's some other stuff to do, but I've had it happen to me once where my game froze there. I don't know why it did, but it did. So just kind of forewarning, I don't think it would happen particularly often considering how many times I've played this game and how many times it's happened, you know, once. But anyway, the National Church is at the top of the stairs. Well, that's nice. Yeah, it's kind of a tourist attraction. It's kind of an odd thing for a church to be. I'm sure there are other churches, like in real life, that kind of serve as that. I would have guessed the Vatican would have something like that, though I've never been there, so I wouldn't know. But yeah, I'm not sure if there is something like that. If you know, let me know in comments. It'd be interesting to find out. The Divine Tree. I don't think we've heard about this Divine Tree. What is it? The last fruit have been protected. What's signets? What's a signet? Huh. What are you talking about? When the signet is broken, the end of the world approaches. The last fruit. Humans are one of the fruits given by the Divine Tree. Well, that's interesting. Remove evil from our hearts. Yeah, it's standard preaching. Anyway, that's the preacher that the guy was talking about, or the bishop, or whatever his name is. Now, we haven't seen the castle yet, but it's in the name of the town, so doesn't this music really just have that regal, grand duchy kind of feel? I always like this theme. It's not something you want to kind of listen to outside of the game, but it definitely gives you that feeling when you hit town. You just kind of get lost in the majesty of what the castle represents, and we'll see the castle eventually. Divine Tree. Oh, apparently this information might be helpful. You serve the Divine Tree. What are you talking about? Nobody has seen the real tree. Now, this... Oh god, again I didn't do research. No, I don't want to say anything. I think in Norse mythology, Yggdrasil is a divine tree. If I recall correctly, I can't remember. Every time I hear Yggdrasil, I either think of the hero overlord in the original StarCraft, or I think of a certain something in Xenogears. I don't want to spoil anything from that game because I do plan on playing it, though it's kind of on hold at this point. I haven't really got around to playing it lately. More work than free time lately, so. Would you like to hear more? Yes. Anytime you have an option for this, I don't know if you can actually skip them or not. I always say yes because I want more information. And in this case, because...
The divine tree is the tree of life. All life comes from this divine tree. In the beginning, nothingness filled the world. Then the creator Soa descended from the sky. And his followers created the world. In the end, Soa sowed a seed on the earth. The seed soon grew to be a great tree. The great tree bore 108 fruits, and various life forms arose from the ripened fruits. Thus, 108 forms of life were created to fill the world with life. The divine tree completed its role, but the story says it is still protected by the signet of Soa.
There are so many places I could go after that one. First of all, every time I look at it, I still see it as a ripoff of Final Fantasy IX's Aoife Tree, even though I know it's not. Both games were released around the same time. There's no way that one was able to copy the other. I think both of them ended up getting a release somewhere between 1999 and 2000, so there's no way. But it just has that same weird tentacle tree thing going on, and I don't know. It looks really cool. It's one of the more interesting cinematics in the game, just because of how detailed it is. You know, the Dragon campaign one was awesome, don't get me wrong, but I always like this one just because I kind of like that nature look as opposed to the artificial look that we saw a lot of in, you know, that video. And as for the other bits, haven't we heard something else about 108? Anyway, so yeah, the idea is we have the creator, the god, basically, Soa. And he created a divine tree that bore 108 fruits. Each of these fruits became a individual race or species, if you want to call it that, in the world. Now, I haven't counted all the monsters in the game to see if those add up between them and excuse me, and, you know, Winglies and Gigantos and all the other species they talk about in this game, but it wouldn't surprise me if they did something pretty cool like that. Anyway, there's more information in the National Library, which, of course, has got Albert's, you know, giving him a nerdgasm just thinking about it. And yeah, he goes hardcore nerd on this. Yeah, he completely flips his lid on this. It's really, really funny. Oh, that was fun. Anyway, what else can we do here? Let's talk to you one more time. Got anything else to say? Yeah, he's just gonna preach. Alright, you said your interesting bit. Let's talk to this guy. Okay, there we go. Librarian? Okay, Oots, whatever. I don't care. Pronunciations have gotten me screwed up in games since I was a kid. I'm not sure if I've mentioned this story before, but I remember way back when, I think I was playing Final Fantasy VIII at the time, around the time it was released, which was 98? I would have been 10. Something like that. Yeah, and Haschel, of course, is really funny. Yes. But yeah, I don't know what it was. I always had a problem reading some of the strange names that ended up in some of these JRPGs. And in the case, there was Bahamut. And I know there's a debate between whether it's Bahamut or Bahamut or whatever, you know, the different pronunciations based on, you know, the mythology and based on how it looks, whatever. The different languages. I think it's Arabic is one of them. I don't know. I haven't paid enough attention lately, so. But I always noted, you know, I always had kind of ways of getting through that, either by, you know, just completely winging it or bullshitting or whatever I did to try and get by so that I wouldn't, you know, say nothing. And I went to, I was living with my parents, obviously, and I went to the tenant because he was a bit of a gamer as well. And I mentioned to him, you know, what I had called Bahamut, and for the life of me, you know, within like a few days after that, I could not remember how I used to refer to it. I referred to it the way I'd, you know, done as a child. And he had no idea what I was talking about, and he was making fun of me for having such a strange way of pronouncing it. And he said it right. I was like, oh my God, that makes a lot more sense. And then I was just like, oh crap, I can't even remember what I used to call it. So I can't, you know, give you the complete story, but it was really funny, or at least it is now looking back on it. Now, you may not have gotten the impression of the librarian quite yet, but he's pretty full of himself. Yeah. But he's turned his back. He can't hear you. Anyway, we're going to do some more research. A dragon and a dragoon in Serdio. In Tiberoa, obtain the cooperation of a Wingley. We don't know what he'll do here. Well, that's pretty true, actually. We really don't. But we've got a few more people to talk. Get out of my way. Get a few more people. Let's see. No freeze. Come on, big money. Okay. Really? Okay, make that twice it's frozen on me here. No? Alright, we'll try this one more time and I'll see you in a moment. Okay, there we go. Jeez. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, when I tried to do it again, I had the same exact problem. So what I ended up doing is I made a save file, proper save file, not a save state, and then, you know, loaded the save file on the PAL version of the BIOS, made a save state, loaded the save state in the North American version in the BIOS, and ta-da, it seems to work. So, whatever. Anyway, in this city, women, or I guess in this country, women rule the world. So yeah, it's a matriarchy. That's cool. You don't seem to, well, you do get it in games relatively often, I guess. I want to talk to you, not the plant. Okay. Huh, well, we better check that out, but first let's talk to some more people. Yeah, unfortunately, when they do, you know, women ruling a town or a village or a kingdom or whatever, they often throw some kind of, you know, men being subservient kind of subplot into that country, city, whatever. And it's kind of generic that they always seem to do that. Oops. It's nice to see them not do that in this game, yet still have, you know, women being in charge. It's kind of rare to see one without the other. Anyway, we've talked to enough people, I think. There's only a couple more we can talk to around here. Unfortunately, I already talked to you. Out of the way. No. Game. I don't like you right now. But unfortunately, the NPCs in this town, other than a few of them, are not particularly interesting. It's a nice day today. Thank you. Quiet life to sit here with your wife? Well, that sounds really boring. How are you going to have fun if you can't go adventuring and beating up monsters and leveling up all the time? Anyway, that's the library. One more house, and then I think we'll call it a day here. The going in the library is a relatively long sequence there. What? Oh, so they're playing. Whoosh! Let's ride the wind. I want to be the wind, big brother. Points to anyone who gets the reference, which should be everybody. Anyway, that's all for this one, and I'll see you guys next time.